later in life, first as mayor of McKeesport and now as state senator. This year, he faces a Republican woman from Lower Burrell, Nicole Ziccarelli, who is running an aggressive campaign against him. Hi, I'm John Delano, political editor, KDKA Television, and our special guest is State Senator Jim Brewster from the 45th Senatorial District. Senator, thank you, sir, very much for spending time with me. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, John. Glad to be here.
So let me ask you first a little bit about your district, the 45th Senatorial District. Where exactly is that?
Well, it goes, there's 8 communities in Westmoreland County, 30 communities in Allegheny County. Goes all the way up to Vandergrift, East Vandergrift, all the way down through Plum, Monroeville, Turtle Creek Valley, Demond Valley, all the way out to Forward Township, Brentwood, and Baldwin.
So what are the biggest communities in this district?
Well, you have West Mifflin, Monroeville, Plum, Elizabeth Township, Baldwin, Brentwood, Lower Burrell, Allegheny Township. So there's several, about half of them are fairly decent size.
And you've represented this district for a decade, I think. Is that right?
Yes.
So
yes.
Tell me a little bit about your history. How did you get into politics? And is this something you've been doing all your life?
Well, no. Actually, I had a career at Mellon Bank, almost 3 decades. I rose to the level of vice president. Very proud of that. Didn't start full-time politics until my children were grown up. 2 of them were married. So it was 2004, I became full-time mayor of McKeesport. Ironically, I did serve on the recreation board and part-time on council while I was still working. Actually, Nick Skees is my opponent's grandfather, is the one that got me started on the recreation board. He was a very good friend of my stepfather's, a very good friend of mine, actually, when he was on council. So we spent 7 years full-time mayor of McKeesport. And when Sean Logan decided to move on from the 45th District Senator, they called me and asked if I would be interested. Frankly, I was 5 minutes from my home. McKeesport's where I grew up. I've been there for 62 years on the playground that I grew up on. Very proud that I stayed there. I could have moved to Delaware and Boston with the bank and opted not to do that, probably passed up significant financial improvements, but money never motivated me. I'm very proud of where I live and very proud of the people I worked with at the bank. And here we are at the Senate. Seems like the past 9 years have gone by pretty quickly. So that's kind of where we got to.
Yeah. Well, tell me, what do you put up as your most significant accomplishment? What are the kinds of issues that you focused on as state senator for what is essentially a Mon Valley, really up to the Alikiski Valley area?
Well, it's real simple for me, John. I do this because after all my experience at the bank and my experience of raising a family, my experience as mayor, as you know, I went through the 2008 recession as mayor. Very, very difficult, one of the hardest jobs I've ever had. I went through the old Y2K scare in the year 2000 at the bank. So we've been through a number of these different events. Now we have the COVID. And my position has always been to improve the welfare of every single human being, regardless of their party affiliation, their gender, their race, their religion. My mother was a social worker, and I do this because I want to make the quality of life better for every individual in the district. And to do that, you have to take care of the 38 communities. I'm one of the few people in Harrisburg that really pays attention to small communities. And I have 38 communities. I think it's important that we make all the funds available that we can to them so that they can manage the folks that elected them. Local school boards, local elected mayors and council people and commissioners are important to me. And our successes in terms of bringing in revenue through grants and what have you have been largely because I've been able to work with local elected officials to see what is it you need in Monroeville or McKeesport or Lower Burrell. And I take their information and try to formulate a strategy to help them accomplish what they think they need.
If I recall correctly, Senator, you've had a particular interest in the schools as well. Can you articulate some of that, particularly, I think, when it comes to school safety?
Yes, I'm one of the few members that are There's 24 members on the School Safety and Security Commission in Pennsylvania. Senator Costa appointed me. In the past 3 years, we've pushed out, it's probably $150 million to the schools. The most recent year was interesting. If you go back 24 months, our concern was school safety in terms of mass shootings, and it still is, by the way. It's not discussed much, but it's still something that we really have to pay attention to protect our students, our children, our teachers, our staff, and to put the minds of the parents at ease. However, the past year, we have shifted some of those resources because of the CARES money to use in schools so that they can get open, whether it's in person, whether it's hybrid, or whatever, if it's full online. The funds were then available to make the distancing in the classroom, accommodate the students, to do the sanitizing of the schools, all the sorts of things we have to do for COVID. So I'm happy to be able to be part of that. And the whole board, the commission has done a great job helping to get that out to the schools.
You are facing a perhaps stiffer challenge for re-election this year than you have in the past. And your opponent, who we've interviewed, essentially views, I think, this in generational terms, equating you with the old politics of the past and herself with the kind of a new politics. This is not unfamiliar to you. So what's your reaction to what's going on in this campaign?
Well, I think we need experience now more than we ever do. I mean, if I go back to before I was involved with politics, I always went with the individuals that I thought could bring the most to our community. I wasn't overly concerned about the age. I'm kind of surprised to hear that that's her thought process. I mean, very frankly, I'm disappointed in the negativity. What folks have to realize that the wealthy leaders in Harrisburg are funding her campaign. They're funding her campaign for other reasons, not just to get her elected. It's to keep them in leadership. And it makes it very difficult. I've probably done more bipartisan support than any legislator in Harrisburg that I know, in the House or the Senate. I vote on bills that I think benefit all people. As I said earlier, yes, I'm a Democrat. I'm a conservative Democrat. I've been through experiences that she has never been through. And as I said, I mean, I'm trying to tell a story of what we've accomplished. As mayor, I brought $27 million into the city of McKeesport and kept it from going bankrupt when major industries were going out of business during 2008 recession. I was rewarded for that and named Mayor of the Year in Pennsylvania in 2008. And my opponent, while I applaud her effort and willingness to serve, talks about coming back to McKeesport. Well, I never left. She did. And because of what I've done in the Mon Valley, and I was inducted into the Hall of Fame of McKeesport Area High School. Very prestigious and very proud to say that. Those things don't happen if you don't perform and if you don't provide some strategy and some hope for people. And that's what I feel my job is. I'm not at all motivated by money. You'll find that my expenses are probably the lowest, if not the lowest in Harrisburg at this particular time. So I don't know what her strategy is or what her plans are for the future, but it's more about the money and the wealthy leadership in Harrisburg.
Well, as you know, she has attacked you through her campaign, at least, on this whole per diem issue, because I gather when you were first elected, you said you would not take per diems, but after subsequent re-elections, you have. What's your response to her?
When the redistricting took place in 2012, that's when that 1 year per diems occurred. What she neglects to say is there were 9 years out of 10 that I didn't take them. And what else she neglects to tell you is I have bills to eliminate all perks to every legislator in Harrisburg, eliminating per diems, eliminating state cars, which I've never taken, eliminating reimbursement for phones, any gifts at all from lobbyists. My question to her is, why hasn't the organization in Harrisburg who support her, why haven't they passed the bills? They have complete control over that. If she'd make a phone call today, they could pass my bills to eliminate perks for every senator and every House rep. My question is, why haven't they done that?
Fair enough. Finally, Senator, what do you think is going to dictate who wins this election as we approach Election Day?
Well, there's no question that the presidential race is really the primary focus, and it should be. It's an important election. There's a lot of anger out there, a lot of unreadiness by folks. And I think that particular election will really cause folks to fall in line in terms of ideology. We've done an awful lot of door knocking and mailers as well. And the interest is on the presidential race. So your guess is as good as mine, John, probably better. You went through a number of these, how that'll impact all of the races down ticket.
You know, bottom line, you do expect to win.
I do. And I do because I believe the people in the 45th district know what I've done. They know what I'm capable of doing, and they know why I'm doing it. It's to improve the quality of life for each and every individual in this district. And I think that's a pretty good lesson to be learned in my case, because there's history there. And I'm proud of that. And I think they'll use what I've accomplished as the guideline for their vote.
Well, Senator Jim Brewster, it's always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you, sir, very much for your time today.
Thank you.
And our special guest is Nicole Ziccarelli, who is the Republican candidate for state Senate in the 45th Senatorial District. Nicole, thank you so much for being with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This is quite an honor. I do feel special being here with you today. I think it's been about a year since I saw you last. And at that time, I told you I was thinking about running for this. And I don't think you or I or anybody else could imagine what the world has been through since then.
Well, that is for sure. And I'm going to ask you a little bit about the how you decided to run. But before I do that, who is Nicole Ziccarelli?
Well, I'll tell you this. I was raised in the Mon Valley, specifically in the White Oak McKeesport area. Very strong roots there. When my great-grandparents came from Greece, they settled in McKeesport, which was the land of opportunity. They started a coal trucking business there. And so I went to McKeesport High School, very proud graduate, 1999. Went to Penn State undergrad and law school. So I'm a Pennsylvania girl through and through. And then I met my husband, Frank, a typical Pittsburgh fashion on the north side at a Super Bowl party. And his family is Italian. I'm Greek. His family is Italian. And when they came to America 3 generations ago, they settled in New Kensington, Pennsylvania, which was also the land of opportunity. And so when we got married, I moved to the Lower Burrell area with my husband, Frank. We are raising our 4 beautiful young children there. They all go to public school as I did. And so that's a little bit about who I am, where I live. And I'm just so proud to be from this district and be running. You know, they say it takes a village to raise somebody, and the Mon Valley raised me. The Alley-Kiski Valley is raising my kids. And I just couldn't be more proud to be running this year.
You're an attorney. Tell me a little bit about the nature of your law practice.
Sure. I have my own law practice. I do a lot of divorce and custody mediation. I also represent children in need in Westmoreland County, specifically as a guardian ad litem, which means I represent their best interests. I do a fair share of real estate, and so it's always ever changing. I got to teach for the first time last year at Penn State, New Kensington, and I just absolutely loved it. So that was a new experience for me as well. But I'm always busy, always running. And I'll tell you what, I've never had a harder, more difficult and more challenging job interview than running for state Senate. And so this is really the test of the will.
So tell me, Nicole, why did you decide to run for the state Senate against an incumbent who's been there for at least a decade?
Right. It looks like we have a little bit of traffic here, John. So I'll just
that's all right. You keep going
until everybody comes through.
Well, I wanted to ask you obviously about why you are running for the state Senate. You're the mother of 4 kids and have a very busy law practice. What prompted you to run for the state Senate?
Well, my children are my inspiration. I want them to grow up and be proud of where they're from, just like I am. I want them to live next door and have great family-sustaining jobs. When I was a very little girl, my grandfather, who's my hero, said to me, "Never forget where you come from, Nicole." And this is part of me fulfilling that promise for him. I think that a lot of parts of our district, from Kiski to Kennywood have seen a lot of decline over the years, and Senator Brewster has been at the helm of that. So I'm not quite sure he has the right answers coming out of this one, and it's exactly the right time and place for the next generation to step up and fight for all of us.
Well, do you see this then as a generational issue?
But not necessarily. It's a multifaceted issue, but again, Senator Brewster has been in this role for 10 years. He's had his turn. Before that, he was the mayor of McKeesport and the president of council in McKeesport. I love McKeesport, but I think we can do better in that area specifically and across District 45, and that's what I intend to do.
You are a Republican running against a Democrat in a majority Democratic district. Does that make it really tough for you?
Well, not necessarily. Maybe the registration looks like that, but that's certainly not where people have been voting in the past couple of years. We really feel, based on our polling and based on how my neighbors and community members have been voting, that this is exactly the right time to step up. And you raise an important point. I am running as a Republican, and the Republicans control the state Senate. That means the Republicans are at the table when decisions are being made about appropriations, projects, and funding. As a Republican state senator from District 45, I'll actually be at that table and be able to fight and advocate on behalf of my neighbors.
Well, as you know, Senator Brewster will identify himself as a more conservative Democrat. How do you identify yourself as a Republican? Do you support President Trump?
I do support the president. I was always taught to respect the office of the presidency, but I'll tell you what, I really believe in the power of the individual. I believe in small government. I'm a fiscal conservative. At the same time, I support other measures like early childhood education and helping our public schools. And when I say I support the individual, I mean I support anybody, how they come to the table, who they love, how they choose to live their life. My candidacy is a direct reflection of having been raised here and lived here my whole life. And that's what I'm hoping to show in the Senate, hoping to shine a light on our area and the wonderful, good people that we are.
So if I understand then the gist of your campaign, it's that the region and the 45th district just hasn't done as well economically as it ought to be doing. Is that the gist of it?
Yes, absolutely. I think we have a real opportunity, particularly in the energy sector, to really stand out in Pennsylvania and across the country. And we just haven't done a good enough job. Our leadership has not done a good enough job of making sure that they are a champion for business, economic development, small business, and community growth. And that's my number one issue that I intend to tackle.
And then finally, if I can ask you, Ms. Ziccarelli, how is it to campaigning during the COVID era? I mean, are you able to go door to door? Are you able to talk to voters? Has it been challenging for you?
Okay, we've got a loud car here. One moment. I'm so glad you brought that up because I feel through this experience, I've been able to show people through my actions, not just tell people the kind of leader I'm going to be. So immediately when COVID-19 hit, we weren't sure what direction the campaign would need to take. But I told everyone, we are going to face this as the challenge that it is. It's not going to be an excuse to hold us back. One of the first things that I did, John, was I directed my team to completely shift gears and go to more of a digital strategy. One of the things we did was we created a campaign in our campaign called Shine a Light in 45, where we did a virtual tour of small businesses across the district. I would contact the business, learn about their hours of operation. Were they open? Are they only online? I would then buy a $25 gift card to their business, promote them across social media, let everybody know when they're open and how to get in touch with them, and then give away that gift card to somebody in the district. And it really may seem de minimis, $25, but to a family of 3 in Pitcairn, that might be 2 full meals from Fox's Pizza. So it was a really big deal. We shifted gears in that regard. With regard to doors, we weren't really sure if we could do them. And we said, the only way we're going to find out if we can do doors safely and effectively is by trying it. And we have had a wonderful experience at the doors. I hit doors every single day. And when I say that, it's not the way we used to hit doors. I go up to the door with my mask. I ring the doorbell. I go way back. I mean, like 12 feet back. Very, very safe distance. We're outside. If people want to talk to me, they come to the door. If they don't, I understand. I leave them a little material so they can read over it. And overwhelmingly, people want to talk about what they've been through, what they've seen in the district, what they'd like to see happen. And it's just been a wonderful experience. With me, my leadership style will be all about access to anybody who wants to talk to me and come to the table with new or different ideas, things I may disagree with. But the only way I show voters that I'm committed and I'm going to be an open, transparent leader that is an active member of the community is to go to the doors and introduce myself. And I tell people every day, I'm at your door because I can't meet you the way I normally would, but I want to at least show you the respect to come to your home and meet you in person.
And in your view, that's been effective?
Very, very effective.
So bottom line, Nicole Ziccarelli, Republican candidate in the 45th Senatorial District, you feel you can win this election? Are you going to win it?
Absolutely. No question about it. We started out as the underdog. I never want to forget that. But our people and our volunteers are so wonderful. They have been so excited. They've been relentless. They never stop. And I'm just so proud of the effort that we've put forward. I can't wait to make everybody proud in the district and be the kind of leader that they all deserve.
Well, Nicole Ziccarelli, the Republican candidate in the 45th Senatorial, thank you so much for spending time with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, John. You have no idea. It's been an honor. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you again.